Have you ever dreamed of having riches, but as you start going through the motions, you realize that it's not that easy to obtain? Well, by the end of this video, we are going to share with you how to increase your income in 3 simple steps. My name is Carmen.
And my name is Darius. And what we're going to discuss in this video is what are the mental blocks that we had to overcome to understand what we know now about money. But before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when we post new videos.
So let's go ahead and jump into point number 1. And point number 1 is to know your worth. I can't stress this enough because this is something that we continue to work through as we grow our businesses, as we grow personally, is understanding how much our worth is. Because when you have a specific skill set, it is going to be valuable to the next person who needs your specific expertise. And that's where we tend to underestimate our gifts because it just comes natural to us. But recognizing that the next person, it may not be something that they're aware of, it may not come natural to them, and the time that it would take them to research, to input, and to execute could be far less if you just took the time to educate that individual on how to do whatever it is that they need to do. So I know that's something that I'm always working on, is reevaluating my worth and knowing what I can bring to the table and how valuable that is to the next person.
Right. And understanding your value starts with you. Like if you're not convinced that you have value, you're not going to be able to convince somebody else. That's how we end up in situations where we don't charge enough for whatever product or service that we have. We end up not feeling good about what we're doing because we undervalued ourselves. So value starts with the way we think about ourselves so that we can make sure that we're charging appropriately for the products and services that we offer. You can't compare yourself to somebody else. It's all about what you think your value is and how you present that to market.
Yeah. And also too, like, you don't have to ask for permission. Right? You don't have to ask for permission for a specific price point. This is all about your time. It's about your energy, and whoever is going to vibe with you and align with whatever products and services you have to offer, they're not going to have any problems paying it because they understand your worth. And that's where you want to make sure that you are clear with, because if you get to the point where you're a business owner, for example, and maybe you're lowballing yourself and all of a sudden you recognize, man, this is going to take me more time, more energy, and then you keep increasing your prices, you also have to think about what that's going to do to the consumer, because they might be confused and then wonder what's going on with your pricing. So from the standpoint, try to be as clear as you possibly can. Pricing is going to change from time to time, of course, because inflation and cost of goods and things of that nature, but don't undervalue your time and how it takes you to execute on whatever products and services that you have to offer.
Right. And undervaluing yourself is easy because you can have a mindset of your value being $100,000, but you want $1 million. There's a contradiction in those two numbers. There's a big gap in between those two numbers. So you have to understand your value, your true value, as being that $1 million before you're to receive it.
And also, I would say what I learned throughout this whole process is the execution or the fulfillment. When we were starting our businesses, we always were thinking about, okay, what does fulfillment look like, right? So what is my promise to the customer? What do I have to do? Do I have to show up for an hour? Do I have to sell a service? Is it a digital product? What does that look like? And you have to remember what that is going to look like when you do it 10, 12, 15, 17 times, thinking about what that fulfillment is going to look like, how much time it's going to take you to create that fulfillment. And that should help you then be able to back into the numbers to see how it makes sense for you to create that said value that you have.
Another thing that we understood, moving on to the next point, is the fact that if rich isn't a reflection of how much money is in your bank account, but a reflection of how much money you have access to. It's not a reflection of how much money you have in your bank account, but how much money you have access to. It puts me in the mindset of Elon Musk, the wealthiest man in the world. He doesn't have the equal amount of income that he has in net worth because it's in stock options. It's in an asset. When he wants money, he leverages his asset, his stocks, to get money from the bank or someone else or someplace else. That is having access to money. That's wealth. It's not sitting in a bank account for him to go and pay cash for another house. He could if he want to, but would that be a personal expense or a business expense? is having access to cash is what makes you rich. For us personally, we started to understand and practice this with our whole life insurance policies. When there's an opportunity to invest or make money, we have to access our cash from our policy cash value. It's not sitting in our bank account, because the money sitting in our bank account isn't making as much money as the money in our insurance policy. So we have to consciously think about this investment that we're going to make. We have to fill out a form and we have to send it to the insurance company. The insurance company then puts that money into our account, and then we invest in the asset or the real estate deal or whatever we're investing in at the time. It's because we have access to it. And our income and our net worth started to change once we realized that it's access to cash and not sitting on cash in our bank account.
Absolutely. That's a huge mindset shift that we had, which is another part of this whole process, right? Because of the gap that you were talking about. If you are dreaming of having $1 million and you have a scarcity mindset and you can't think past $100,000, it's going to be very difficult for you to get those thoughts in alignment with somebody who thinks about having access to cash as opposed to hoarding the money inside your bank account. So having access to cash also is going to be a reflection of your mindset. The more expansive and abundant your mindset is as far as money is concerned, the more access to capital you have. Because with that point, you're going to recognize that money is everywhere and assets are everywhere. And if you have the creative thinking and the determination to know that all it takes is just asking permission, connecting yourselves with people who have money and knowing how to move money responsibly, that's going to tremendously open up your opportunities to receive more income.
Right. And the idea was it takes money to make money. Right?
Yeah.
But what we're saying is it takes creativity to make money. It takes creativity first and foremost, because you can be a middleman between two deals. I know Carmen and I, what we used to do in real estate is we found real estate deals and then we found investors, and we operated as the middleman between the two. We were able to create money or make money from having access to people that had deals and people that had money. So it's the creativity that allowed us to bootstrap ourselves to owning multiple businesses.
Yeah. And also that is the testament too of creating your own income, right? But far too often we expect someone else to help us create our income, right? To being dependent on someone else, like an employer, to pay you, without recognizing that you have every power to create your own income. And when we had to get creative and start figuring out what connections do we have, putting our brains together, what do we have access to? Who can we talk to? What are the things that we can do? We recognize, like, just out of thin air, you can create your own income by just connecting people. Because at the end of the day, business is just all about having a solution to people's problems. And when you can look at business from that simplistic view, knowing that you have the solution to someone's problem, it's just going to open up the doors for you.
Yeah, the interesting thing about money is it's created out of thin air anyway.
Yeah.
It's numbers on a spreadsheet at the bank that they can create on the computer or even print it off. They can print it off. So we get wrapped up in this whole idea of this fiat cash,
it runs us.
It runs us when it doesn't have any substance or anything to fall back on for it to have any value. So it's kind of like playing the game of hot potato. You don't want to be caught with having just cash. What you want is you want to leverage that cash to have assets that whenever you want access to funds, you tap into that asset.
Let me get some of that. Yeah, but that's the point. Is really having that mindset, like you said, of having assets, not cash in the bank. Big transition.
Are you looking for a life insurance policy specifically designed to help you accomplish your financial goals?
And if you have a policy, or if you're looking for more education, would you like to be a part of a community with like-minded individuals who are all using life insurance to accomplish their financial goals? If so, click on the link below. We would love for you to join the Wealth Nation Money School. So what I want to do is jump to point number 3, which is mental blocks.
Yeah, that's probably the foundation of everything that we're talking about is the way you think. The way you think, it limits you to get the income that you want to get because of where you think you are financially.
And this
your thoughts create your reality.
Absolutely. And this may sound a little frou-frou for those of you who are like, oh, no, I just have to work really hard for money. That was me. I thought that you had to bleed for money or die first, one or the other. And it wasn't until I shifted my mindset.
Isn't that get rich or die trying?
We've shifted our mindset, okay? We ain't dying. We won't die trying. So the idea behind this is really recognizing historically what you've seen
dictates your thinking behind it.
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how do I go with that. So what you've seen around money, right? What are the conversations that you've heard around money regarding like your family, your parents, your guardians? What did they say about money? What did you see them do with money? Was there tension? Was there avoidance? Was there, what were people being irresponsible? Were people being responsible? We just never know what you've seen with money, and then start to recognize like maybe a lot of those things that you've seen and heard have shaped your perception around money. And that could be affecting your ability to get to that next level, to be creative, because maybe I'm speaking for myself, right? Maybe what I've seen, and I was sharing this in our community, is I've seen that when people get to a certain point with money, there's tension, there's stress, relationships are ruined. And so I recently had a mental block where I wasn't able to make a business decision because I couldn't get past this subconscious thinking that I wasn't even aware of. And it was very helpful to have people in my life who can allow me to break through these barriers and understand these things, because once I was able to address this mental block that I had with regards to money, it completely changed my ability to make decisions in my business and not hold myself or hold us back because I just was stuck and I didn't even know I was stuck.
Right. So potentially the things that we see that are hindering us, or there's an opportunity that there's a wall there that we can't
invisible
get past.
Wall.
Yeah, an invisible wall. That's one of those mental blocks that's coming up to the surface that you need to identify at that point so that you can move forward. In Carmen's situation, she realized that one of the mental blocks that she had came back from what she experienced with seeing other successful people in her community as she grew up. And other times it's me having mental blocks around the things that I've seen. But it's our ability to be able to identify those mental blocks so that we can move forward faster is what allowed us to continue to move and continue to grow and continue to see some of the success that we're seeing. The only people that can hold you up from success is the person in the mirror. And also, this is a huge nugget for couples, for business owners, whatever it is, because it could be easy for you to blame the other person and be like, you're holding us back, whatever the case may be. But then recognizing that the person maybe isn't doing it intentionally. They just can't move forward because of that invisible wall. So that's where sometimes you just have to have these honest conversations. Where are we stuck? Where are we stuck? How do we get unstuck? And I mean, we had to go back to my childhood, to like 14 years old. I was going through the whole timeline of what did I see? What did I hear? Just to be able to get through this block. So now way past mid-30s at this point, it's like, hey, I can still be carrying this baggage that could be affecting me personally. It could be affecting our marriage, and it could be affecting our business because of my inability to make decisions, because I saw people, or at least what I saw was once you get to a certain point, bad things happen. And that was, again, something that I really had to recognize, which I totally attribute to being very relevant to this video, because if you don't deal with these things, it's going to keep you from obtaining those riches that you're seeking. Yeah, money is a result of the actions that we're taking. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of people blame money for the reason why they're not where they are, when it's not money. The only reason you're saying money is because that's what you see. The thing that you don't see is that's holding you back is the way you think. You can't necessarily see that. It's hidden to you. That's why you're having the issue that you have as it relates to how do I get to this next step of my success or my wealth or my financial well-being. It's not the money itself. It's your thoughts and the way you think. Absolutely. So understanding your mental blocks, understanding the things that happen in your life, and being able to move past those things are going to be able to transition you to the next step. And the last point that I want to leave us with is probably one of the most powerful points that we have had to figure out throughout the years. But what does wealth mean to you? Right? You may have a huge clarity moment where you recognize that wealth doesn't mean being a millionaire. Wealth just means being able to wake up without an alarm clock.
being able to spend time with your children, being able to spend time with your spouses, being able to do whatever you want throughout the day without having a specific agenda. Understand what wealth means to you and go get that.
Understanding that, making that crystal clear and having clarity on it allows you to work towards it. You can't work towards something you don't understand or you can't see for yourself or in your own mind. So you have to be crystal clear and have clarity on what you're trying to create for yourself. That's going to allow you to move forward and create a plan around it. How can you create a plan around something that doesn't exist? It's not possible.
Yeah. And also to that, we can guarantee that if your goals are always going to be centered around money, you're never going to make enough. And you're going to completely underestimate the life that you've created and the freedom that you've created yourself by just chasing money. So reevaluate what wealth means to you and then go get that. Because when you get that, money will always follow.
Right. Now, if you want to understand a little more how to organize your money once you actually have it so that you can make sure you make the right investments, you make sure you make the right decisions with the money you do have, check out our next video. We show you how we manage our funds.
And don't forget to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.